Hey, Jack.
Hey, Dad. You have a date?
She asked me out last minute.
I want you to go. Have fun, all right?
Yeah, this is Ren. You're saying Jack is missing?
When's the last time you saw him?
I had a date.
You mean the woman you picked up last week?
Tell me what actually happened.
A wolf killed my dog.
It's so nice to meet you. I'm sorry I have you in the background, but the alternative is a bunch of boxes that I have in the background, so it don't look very nice. So
Okay, I'm all in, all about the raccoon eyes.
so yeah, this is such an interesting movie. It's strange but interesting, and it's very unique. Both in terms of a genre movie and a not genre movie. How did you find out about it? Did Michael reach out to you, or what was like sort of like the in to this?
Yeah, I was approached with this project, I guess December of 2023 or so. And I read it and I just thought there's so much going on. I'm not really sure. Yes, it's horror, but also I didn't really know what the vision was.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed and was sold on the big twist, the big reveal.
Hmm.
I'm a huge fan of psychological thrillers, so that really intrigued me. And when I met with Michael, he said that a lot of how he sees the film will be inspired by the film Lamb with Noomi
Oh yeah.
Rapace.
Oh yeah, of course.
I went and watched it and I loved it. And I said, yes, this is absolutely something that I would love to be a part of.
Yeah, I usually don't read too much about movies before I watch them. Like, and this was definitely the case where I literally went in completely blind. And actually, it's funny, it didn't dawn on me until I saw him in the movie that Michael was the guy from the state, and he's been directing TV forever. And
Comedy.
yeah, there's a lot of comedy, and I hadn't seen it. I'd heard of his other movie, The Oregon Trail, but I hadn't actually seen it. But I heard great things about it, so I was like, really, oh, well, I have to go back and watch that one too.
Yeah.
Have you seen Oregon Trail by any chance, or?
Oh, no, I haven't. But I just really was intrigued by just the inspiration and his ideas that he shared with me with how this movie was going to come about. But really, I know it falls into the horror genre, but really it's a very heartbreaking story that has horror elements in it, because I think
Absolutely.
really a truly good story is heightened with the stakes of horror elements.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting because I haven't seen. I don't think I haven't seen Ethanembry in very many movies lately. I mean, he used to be in a lot, and I haven't
Yeah.
seen him much, and never anything like this was just like a really a lead, like a really good dramatic lead for him, which is great. But what was it like working with him? Like, how did you guys meet up beforehand to kind of prepare for this, or how did you guys?
What we were talking about this in numerous other interviews when we were asked about the chemistry that we had on screen. I think it was just we were very lucky with the vision that Michael had putting us together with the casting directors, and how they kind of just knew that we would work well together, because this film, we didn't really have a chemistry read at all. We did not meet production. But what happened was we were filming in Pacific City, 2.5 hours outside of Oregon near the coast. And after it was supposed to be filmed in the summer, then it was delayed because of the writers and SAG strike. And so we ended up filming in the wintertime. And that city had not had an ice storm in 100 years,
Oh.
which delayed production by a few days. And we already had a few days where it was allocated for us to rehearse. So Ethan and I we got along right off the bat, and we made it a point to really hang out with each other. We took advantage of our days of prep to see the city together and really share our stories. And I think really, we really were just lucky that we automatically had that chemistry between us.
Yeah, even though this movie isn't a horror movie with a big capital H, it has these horror elements, these genre elements, and gore. And I was a little bummed because your character wasn't involved. Like, you didn't get to hang out with the goats or the wolf or anything like that so much. Yeah, so But even though in the picture there, obviously the beginning is a little messy, I guess. But were you bummed? Did you at least see them doing some of that stuff? Were you there while they were shooting some of that stuff with the wolves and the goats and
Yes, I am a huge fan of dogs. And so when they hired a wolf dog or a dog who looked like a wolf, I had my day off and I went to set to watch the whole thing. I still have a video that I have from the monitors of this brilliant performance that was done by this dog who was getting really scary on command and was the sweetest after they yelled cut. But yeah, I mean it is horror, but it's not. It really is just a really heartbreaking story told in the context of unfortunately a man who has taken too long to address his trauma and now has fragmented his reality.
there aren't a ton of locations. So was Michael able to at least film it in an order that made sense for you as an actor? Because obviously there's things that kind of go back to certain scenes. There's things that kind of, again, without spoiling stuff, it's kind of, but was he able to do stuff in a way that made sense to you and Ethan while you're shooting? Or
I can tell you that 99% of the things that of anything that we film is never in order.
right? Oh yeah, yeah.
Because of just the logistics of what's available, weather permitting or actors availability, etc. Even though Ethan and I were on set the entire time, I can tell you that the very opening scene and the very ending scene in the interrogation room was filmed on the very last day in one day.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so that alone was already kind of, could potentially throw you off. But I think, having done this for a while, you kind of get used to being thrown off of your schedule and you prepare for it.
One of my favorite scenes was probably it was the most like just straight ahead drama when you and Ethan are in the bedroom and he's just telling you about his wife and his son. Really, really moving scene. Like, was that something done? Did you guys rehearse for this and did you get a lot of rehearsal before he did his scene or?
So it was very small crew, it was a small production, and we always went to Michael's house to rehearse the next day's scene to make sure that we worked out the blocking and we worked out the beats. And so that was really truly the only prep we had was about one day at most, one day to a week at most to prepare for something like that. This was a very heavy scene for Ethan for that day, and we just had to go for it. We ran into some obstacles. There was, a lot of noise outside, and there was a cement truck, but we just the part of doing what we do is we face the obstacles head on the day of and work around it.
Yeah. And I don't want to spoil things. I'm gonna keep things vague, but that's followed by a scene where I don't know if it's actually you, but it was your character chasing him around a house. Is that vague enough? Was that you? And were you like wearing some heavy makeup and stuff like that, or what was like sort of like the process there?
That was so it was me whenever there were lines delivered, but as
Okay.
far as anything that could potentially be dangerous, such as running down the stairs or flying through, furniture, that was my stunt double, Megan Hui, whom I've worked with on numerous other projects. Yeah, that was very, very dangerous because they did that chasing scene many times and ran into a lot of corners. But yes, the deliveries and all that. I had prosthetics that took about 3 hours to put on.
Hmm.
And it actually was, I don't know, I'm sure you've spoken to numerous actors who've worn prosthetics, but it is really unpleasant, especially when it is so distorting. It does mess with your equilibrium, and after being in it for an extended period of time, it does get very, very difficult. But yeah, that was me when the kitchen exchange was happening.
But it's funny because there is a still of that on the website, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll throw that as my background. I was like, no, that's a little too weird. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do
Yeah.
that. Picture you with that in the but one of the reasons I want to talk to you is I mean I loved your character in Sinners and interesting. I have a friend who made a documentary about the Chinese community down in Mississippi during that period, during the early 20th century. It's called Far East Deep South. I don't know if you
Friends
oh,
who made So the was it? Oh, gosh, what's his name?
Oh, Baldwin Chu and Louisa.
Right. Omar mentioned him when we were in Korea for the press
Oh,
tour.
nice. Yeah, because Omar hadn't. I know Omar knew about the movie, and I wasn't sure if whether Ryan had you watch that or read anything about the Chinese community down there.
Documentary that we went off of was Dolly Lee's documentary about the Chinese Americans in the South,
Okay.
the Mississippi South.
Wait, did you learn anything kind of interesting that you didn't know beforehand, or?
I had no idea there was a Chinese American community in the South in the 1930s. So it was very new to me, but very also intriguing that I spent a lot of time researching, and we also studied our accents religiously.
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, listen, it's great talking to you, and you should check out this movie. It's called Far East Deep South. I think it's on Amazon now, or one of those things. But it's like kind of a very personal story about them finding one of their relatives down there, and it's really interesting. Yeah.
Oh wow, I will definitely check it out. He stole Jack.
You know where it is. You've always known.
And what the heck is going on?
Where is Jack, Ren?
It's not me.
Where did you come from?
This ends now.
He loves you. Find him.
I want my son back. Why are you doing this?
Kill the wolf for me.